meeting will come to order. This special meeting was called by Massillon City Council for the purpose to consider the unfinished business items that from the regular meeting originally scheduled for Monday, May 15, 2023. We have in attendance with us the following city officials.
Mayor Catherine Perry, and I know she's here. Safety Service Director Barb Sylvester. Present. Law Director Justin Richard.
Present.
Economic Development Director David Medley.
Present.
Is there anyone else from administration I missed? That's it, Madam President.
Thank you. Welcome to everyone this evening. Under number 5 on the agenda is where anyone from the public can speak on any topic that does appear on tonight's agenda. And then again, under number 17, the public may speak on any topic that did not appear on tonight's agenda. I'd like to remind you, please, if you have a cell phone, to please set it vibrate mute or turn it off completely. Thank you. Roll call.
Creamer.
Present.
Gray.
Here.
Harvey Smith.
Here.
Hearn King.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Lombardi.
Here.
Smoots. Sneed.
Here.
And Viola.
Here.
Roll call of 8 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Lewis.
You make a motion to excuse Councilman Lewis?
Second by Councilman King. Roll call.
Gray.
Yes.
Howard Smith.
Yes.
Hearn King.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Lombardi.
Yes.
Sneed.
Yes.
Viola.
Yes.
And Creamer.
Yes.
8 yes to excuse Councilman Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Sleece has been excused. Councilman Viola.
Thank you, Madam President. Will those who care to, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Lord's Prayer. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Thank you, Councilman Viola. Madam Clerk, are the minutes of the previous meeting transcribed and open for public viewing?
Yes, they are.
Are there any corrections or additions to be made?
No, there are none.
Your minutes stand approved as written. We're at number 5 on the agenda. Where anyone from the audience may come forward. If you come forward, please state your name. You do not have to state your address, but you do need to write it down on the table. And please limit your comments to 4 minutes or less.
Councilman King, if you could pass this up, please. Thank you. Lou Garrett, Massillon, Ohio. Madam President, council members, I'd like to address point number 14 on the agenda tonight, the proposed inducement grant for caffeine and gunpowder. The last time I was here before you, I asked you to make a business decision on this. Tonight, I'm simply going to ask you to use common sense. I passed around one of the pieces of litigation that I talked about 5 weeks ago, and this was the federal case from the U.S. Department of Labor for not paying minimum wage or overtime. What you have in your hand, and it's this document right here, it says United States District Court, I hope you all have it, is the judgment by default against the defendant, one of the co-owners of caffeine and gunpowder. I want you to look at this. For the last 2 years, and by the way, this default judgment was issued on June 6th of last year, 2022. It's not ancient history. It's right now. And if you read through it, you'll note that the judge issued this default judgment in the amount of $112,000 plus. It's a default judgment because the defendant in this case did not bother to attend. And if you read through this, the defendant in the case, basically for the last 2 years of the case, simply was not involved. So in the last 5 weeks, I've done some homework on this. I wondered how much of the $112,000 was actually paid. Guess what? Nothing has been paid. So what I did is I notified the acting Secretary of Labor, the 3 attorneys who represented the plaintiff, the U.S. Department of Labor, and the judge, and told all 3 of them that no payments had been made on this. So they are now on notice. So this $112,000, and by the way, if you look at the last 3 pages, the United States is just a collection agency for this. There's 93 individuals that were not paid. So you might ask, well, what will happen now? Yeah, could be a number of things. The federal government may decide to do nothing. It may garnish wages. We know that's happened one other time with one of the co-owners of Captain Gunpowder. Or they could make a motion to seize assets. So now what assets would the gentleman have? Well, he's a co-owner of this store, correct? So theoretically, half the inventory could be available for seizure to pay this money. By the way, it's no longer $112,000. It's been 1 year. The amount now, with interest, is $126,000 that hasn't been paid. I want you to look at the 93 names. These are 93 real people that have not been paid. And on this list, there are more than 20 veterans that have not been paid. There are more than a dozen police officers and other police support agency people that have not been paid.
1 minute.
So if you want to do something for veterans, the first thing you should do is ask this individual to pay the $126,000 that he owes. The second piece of paper I handed out to you was from their mission plan, from their mission statement. Due to the experiences and beneficial relationship that both founders of the company bring to the table. So what I'm going to ask all of you is, do you think that includes these 93 people? Do you think they've had a beneficial relationship with one of the co-owners of this? Ask yourself, just use some common sense on this. Do you think someone that owes $126,000 has made 0 payments? Do you think the citizens of Massillon should give that person, or the other person, $8,000? I would simply ask you to use common sense on this. Madam President, council members, thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Luke, did you sign the paper?
I already did.
Thank you.
Good evening, Gail Dancy, Massillon, Ohio. So I decided to come from a different perspective this time, since I've been here for the same event. It's not our job to decide who should get the grant. That's up to the city and whoever makes that decision. And I did hear that they didn't really do a lot to decide to set the parameters of why you should receive the grant. And I understand that they are working on doing something to make that better. But I don't think that's your responsibility. I'm not even sure with all of this legal stuff, because I'm a paralegal too, and while all of this is true, I don't know if you can really use that because that wasn't what you were given to make the decision. I wish you could, and maybe you can. But what I would like to speak to is some time ago when my daughter was in high school, she was called a nigger at school, and she beat the girl down real bad, and then asked the girl if she would apologize to her. And the girl said no, so she beat her again. So then the parents came to file charges against my daughter, and that would have left her with a record as a sophomore. I think she was in high school. So you know me, I got a lawyer. And when we went to the school and they started to talk to me, I'm like, no, don't talk to me, talk to her. They were like, well, who is that? It's my lawyer. Anyway, my lawyer said the nigger was an insightful word, could not be used in public. We won the case, and my daughter never had a record. So my question now is to you, I've talked to people from all of your wards. You know me in research. I've spoken to them, and I've not talked to one person who is in favor of giving this money. So now my appeal to you, as the people who represent the community, is that you would consider voting as the people in your ward would like for you to vote. Because after all, they are the ones that elect you. They don't elect the administrative people. So I'm asking you, almost like you said, use common sense. And have you talked to people in your ward? And are they for this? And if they are for this, if the majority of the people in your ward are for this, then you owe it to them to vote for it, because every time you vote, you should be representing the people that elected you. So that's all I'm asking you today, is to look at, is that an insightful word? Can you put F in this and F in that and make little threats, which that does? I wasn't able to get all of my legal work done, so I will not say anything emphatically that I don't know to be the truth, but ask yourself, if those are insightful words and they appear on the walls of stores, do you want to vote to give money to someone who could be in violation of the law? Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Good evening. I'm David McCune. I live in Massillon, and I want to thank you for letting me take a moment or two of your time. Tonight I'd like to speak to you once more regarding ordinance number 22-2023, the proposed business inducement grant for Caffeine and Gunpowder LLC. As council prepares to vote on ordinance number 22-2023, I would like to take just a moment to speak to you in regard to the investment opportunity, or lack thereof, that Caffeine and Gunpowder LLC seems to represent. Due to the efforts of citizens councils elected to represent public records information, including a lawsuit involving previous employees, along with multiple previous business failures, including the having the right to do business revoked by the state of Ohio not once, but twice, were discovered and subsequently presented to council for consideration. When one takes into consideration all the aforementioned information that has been provided to council, including the decision of ownership through the attacking and vulgar language displayed within, to not be an all-inclusive business, and Caffeine and Gunpowder LLC seems to represent a poor investment opportunity for the citizens, for the city of Massillon. Due to all the aforementioned information that has been provided to you members of council and the findings within, I once again respectfully urge you to vote no on ordinance number 22-2023. Madam President, I would like to submit this as part of tonight's records.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else?
Do I have to sign again? Yvonne Natoli again. I live in Massillon, 28th Street Northwest. I'm kind of late to the party here because I didn't come to the last meeting. My understanding is that there was an application applied for security, to increase security at the gun store. How many people know that? I don't know that it's relevant, as it would be in any of your lives, what has happened, whether you owe people money. I didn't hear, is there possibly did they file an appeal for this case? Is that why nothing's been paid? Is it outstanding because of that? Possibly, I don't know. Unless that affects the topic we're talking about, I don't understand why one is brought to the other. I would assume that everybody here, like myself, okay, agree that we need to secure a gun store. Especially within, what, a 100-mile radius, there's been smash and grabs. If we truly want to keep guns out of the hands of illegal gun owners who do not follow the law, they did not apply for a license as I did. They did not take the test to carry a legal weapon, okay? That is what this is for. The paperwork was filled out to apply to get more security for the gun store. I don't understand what the problem is. We use grant money to tear down buildings that, frankly, I know some of the people have more than enough money to tear down themselves. I know over by where Building 9 was, the city paid to tear down buildings over there. You know what was said by the owner? When asked if they were going to build anything, no. Why aren't you going to build anything? It's not coming out of my pocket. They paid to tear it down. But I still got the land. So let's use the money wisely. I asked a running council member today on Facebook a couple of simple questions. Okay? I was very civil about it. Initially, his post said about propaganda. I said, propaganda in the store? What is the propaganda? Trump's name? The funny thing is, the gun store, our Second Amendment is here to protect our right to free speech. And that's even vulgar. Our feelings don't matter. Okay? Unless you can prove that it was racial, directed at somebody. Things are said all the time. I see signs all the time I disagree with. Okay? I may not like it, but that person has an absolute right under our Constitution to have that sign in their establishment. You don't have to like Trump. I don't have to like Biden. But we are supposed to support the Constitution of the United States. And that is fair for her to let everybody should know that this is to protect. She tried to get benches so that people couldn't drive their cars into the windows, okay? Couldn't get that. So she applies for this so that she can upgrade the security. Why is that a problem? If you truly want guns out of criminals' hands, why is that a problem? I was told our tax money should not go for propaganda. Well, you got to show me the propaganda, because what you posted here actually is propaganda. Then I went and sent the definition of propaganda. Well, then it was changed to signs.
1 minute.
So now signs are offending enough that we're just going to disregard common sense and laws? If you want feelings to dictate the laws, then the laws need to be changed. And I just hope that more people find out what this grant was actually to be used for. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Good evening, my name is Joseph Blueball. I don't actually live in Massillon, I live in Plain Township, but it's nearby, and I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words here. I'm here to voice my opinion that I don't think the City Council of Massillon should use your limited funds to support the caffeine and gunpowder. I think it would not be beneficial at all to the community of Massillon, and by extension to my community in Plain Township also. I think there's many other businesses that would be beneficial both to Massillon and by extension to Plain Township as well. And this is definitely not one of them. And so I just wanted to let you know that that's how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Hello, everybody. Eric Wright, Massillon, Ohio. This is obviously a very touchy subject, but I just want to come to this from a place of equality. As Gail touched on, when we or you as council members are approached by the members who vote for you or vote you into position, you have to kind of lean towards what it is that they want from you. I just only can be transparent because I've been standing in this position before, and the neighborhood didn't want it. As council, I understand the decision. I've only seen maybe 2 people in the time that I've been up here say that they were for this thing, and this is not just a ward, this is the entire Massillon, and it's the voices that speak from this place over here. As far as propaganda, freedom of speech is definitely necessary. I don't have a problem with that. You can feel how you feel, believe in what you believe in, but most people who believe in things so firmly don't have to ask for money. Don't have a need to have help for what I thought originally was. I thought it was written for to facilitate a program for veterans so that they would have a safe place to go. That's what I thought it originally started as. And then once the gun store was robbed, it turned into security, which no one has a problem with that, but I just want you guys to vote from a conscious place and make a decision of equality. If the city is saying no, or the ward, or whoever is saying no, it would be right to say no. If you say yes and table it, then it's a difference. It's, unless there's more to it that we missed out on. But that's just my stand on it. I would vote no. Thanks.
Thank you.
Could I ask, because I didn't use my 4 minutes, the prominent attorney just called me and gave me his answer and told me that I can tell you, and it is a prominent attorney.
Give you his answer on what?
I was asking him if the use of those words was legal, could they result in a lawsuit, and he said absolutely they can. And he's a very prominent attorney that you all know. I told him I would not use his name, but he just called me again. I've been trying to get him all day.
Thank you, Bill.
Can I come say that?
You just did.
But I didn't get it on the recording.
Go ahead.
Can I come?
Say it again?
It used to be that if there were candidates running for an active office, they were active candidates for an office, they had to identify themselves as such before they spoke in council. And I think we've had 2 that have not done that tonight.
Hello, I'm Eric Ray. I'm running for Ward 2 City Council. Thank you.
David McCune, running for 6th Ward Council.
Thank you. This is going to be short, right, Gail?
Very short, because I told him I wouldn't use his name, but you all know him very well, very prominent attorney. He said it's against the law, could be a lawsuit filed, and that the words are wrong and cannot be publicly used. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move into new and miscellaneous business. Councilman Slade.
Yes, thank you, President Eisner. I have here a petition to submit of 88 individuals who are supporting caffeine and gunpowder rather than subject council to way more than 88 who are going to come speak tonight, back and last week. They decided to sign this day. And this petition was circulated just inside caffeine and gunpowder. We didn't go out. I had nothing to do with this other than I collected this from the owner. Okay? So I'd like to submit this for official record. Thank you.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session following the rules set forth by ORC with the purpose of discussion of pending and or imminent lawsuits. To this
executive session, I would invite all the voting members of council, the council president, the law director, and the mayor and safety service director.
Second by Councilman Kramer. Roll call.
Harvey Smith,
Yes.
Hurricane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
and Gray.
Yes.
8 yes to enter into executive session.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now enter executive session.
All right, man. All right, man.
Diane. We'll start momentarily.
I'm gonna run with that. Let's get this.
Councilman Lewis.
I make a motion that we exit executive session.
Second by Councilman Kramer. Roll call.
Hurricane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Harvey Smith.
Yes.
8 yes to exit executive session.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We've exited executive session. We're now back into our regular council meeting. Introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 46, 2023.
An ordinance enacting Chapter 166 Land Revitalization Program under Title V Administrative of Part 1 Administrative Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Massillon, Ohio, and authorizing and directing thereunder the disposition of certain non-productive land not needed for municipal purposes.
Councilman Kramer, first reading. Thank you. Ordinance number 46, 2023 has received first reading. Ordinance number 47, 2023.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and the director of public service and safety on behalf of the city of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into a 3-year billing agreement with the Board of Trustees of Jackson Township, Stark County, Ohio, for the processing and collection of EMS charges for the Massillon Fire Department and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lombardi.
First reading.
Thank you. Ordinance number 47, 2023 has received first reading. Ordinance number 48, 2023.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into contract with OHM Advisors for the design and administration of the 20th Street Area Storm Sewer Improvement Project, all in accordance with Section 153.65 to 153.73 of the Ohio Revised Code and the City of Massillon qualification-based selection QPS process and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Viola.
Thank you, Madam President. This particular ordinance, I believe we discussed at our last work session. Mr. Bergasser spoke to it. I do plan on bringing this forward tonight. I did look into OHM Advisors a little bit. They seem reputable. Does anyone have any questions questions for the administration regarding this particular ordinance? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to waive the rule requiring 3 readings and bring this forward for a vote tonight.
Second by Councilman Lewis. Roll call for suspension.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
and Herman Cain.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 48, 2023 has passed. Ordinance number 49, 2023.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to advertise for and receive sealed bids and to enter into contract upon award and approval of the Board of Control with the lowest and best bidder for the 2023 sanitary sewer cleaning and televising project and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Viola.
Thank you, Madam President. This was also discussed at our last work session. I also plan on bringing this forward tonight unless anyone has any questions of the administration. All right, seeing none at this time, I make a motion to waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring this forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Lewis. Roll call for suspension.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Lombardi.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
and Sneed.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 49, 2023 has passed. Ordinance number 50, 2023.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1201 Street Department Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this appropriation is for $17,410. Does anyone have any discussion this evening? Carry on. Seeing none, I make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, being ordinance number 50-2023, forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call for suspension.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
and Viola.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Gray,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
and Creamer.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 50, 2023 is passed. Ordinance number 51, 2023.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of 1100 general fund for the purpose of special events for the year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is money that was generated through the mayor's annual breakfast, and we're just acting as a pass-through. It's $1,104. Is there any discussion this evening? Seeing none, I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bring ordinance number 51-20234 for a vote.
Second by Councilman Gray. Roll call for suspension.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Gray.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Herman Cain,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Howard Smith.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 51, 2023 is passed. Ordinance number 52, 2023.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1203 Community Development Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is $40,898 for downtown street improvements. This was part of the CDBG dollars that had previously been allocated, but now are carryover and is going to be reappropriated in the business split. Is there any discussion or questions this evening? Seeing none, I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring three readings, bring ordinance number 52-20234 for a vote.
Second by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call for suspension.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Snead,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
and Herman King.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Snead,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman King,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 52, 2023 is passed. Ordinance number 53, 2023.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1235 Community Health Services Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is a total appropriation of $21,987.49. It is for costs associated with the move of the health department to its new facility that could not be calculated prior to the move. Are there any questions or discussion this evening? Seeing none, make a motion to suspend the rules requiring three readings, bring ordinance number 53-20234 for a vote.
Second by Councilman Gregg. Roll call for suspension.
Snead,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman King,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Lombardi.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman King,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
and Snead.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 53, 2023 is passed. Ordinance number 54, 2023.
An ordinance approving and ratifying the winning bid of the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio during the Stark County Sheriff's Sale on May 2nd, 2023 for the purchase of parcel numbers 608429 and 608430, and authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to take all other actions necessary to facilitate said purchase and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is the purchase of third base by the city. Are there any questions or discussion this evening? Seeing none, I make the motion to suspend the rules requiring three readings, bring ordinance number 54-20234 for a vote.
Second by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call for suspension.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman King,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Snead,
Yes.
and Viola.
Yes.
8 yes for suspension. I'm sorry. Lombardi? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. 8 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Gregg,
Yes.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman King,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Snead,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
and Kramer.
Yes.
8 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 54, 2023 is passed. Madam Clerk, is there any unfinished business?
No, there is not.
Are there any petitions and general communications?
Yes, we have a request for an economic development transfer, a TREX, a liquor license for Aldi's Incorporated, Ohio, located at 2630 Lincoln Way East, Massillon, Ohio, 44646. Permit classes are C1 and C2, and is located in Ward 3.
Thank you. Councilman Gregg, did you receive information on this?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any bills, accounts, and claims?
Yes, we have a bill in the amount of $127 payable to U.S. Bank Equipment Finance for our May 2023 payment for our copier. And we have a payment amount of $13.58 payable to First Commonwealth Bank for office supplies, for a total of $140.58.
Councilman Lewis,
Make a motion to pay the bills.
second by Councilman Gregg. Roll call.
Howard Smith,
Yes.
Herman King,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Snead,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
and Gregg.
Yes.
8 yes to pay the bills.
Thank you. The clerk will pay the bills and charge them to their proper accounts. Are there any reports from city officials?
Yes, we have the mayor's report for April 2023 and the auditor's report for April 2023.
Councilman Lewis,
Make a motion that we accept the auditor's report.
second by Councilman Lombardi, roll call.
Herman Kane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Harvard Smith.
Yes.
8 yes to accept the auditor's report.
Madam Clerk, the auditor's report has been accepted. The mayor has some updates. Good evening, Madam President, members of council. Our banner program, as you can see, as you came in tonight, all the veterans that have passed, that have served our country, are up on Lincoln Way and also some on First Street. That program has grown, and we're very excited because Memorial Day is on Monday, and that parade will kick off at 9:30 a.m. and we'll be able to honor and remember all the veterans who protected our country. And that will begin at 8th Street Northeast. So if you'd like to come to the parade, it'll begin at 9:30 on Monday, beginning at 8th Street. The next item I wanted to share with you is that we'll also have a ceremony following the parade, and that will be immediately after the parade on Duncan Plaza. We have a program for the levee ribbon cutting. Congressman Gibbs, if you recall, was really the catalyst for bringing in $22 million to work on our levee. That program is ending its completion, and we'll be doing a ribbon cutting on June 21st at 11 a.m., and we'll be sending out a map to council members if you'd like to attend. We've just had a few site plans last week, and really excited about these items. Panda Express is coming to Massillon. Site plan has been approved. Also, the Starbucks will be a drive-through. That is coming to Massillon as well, and both of those are across from McDonald's. A new store is called 7 Brew, and that is going to go on the other side of Chipotle in front of the old Kmart. And that company sells coffee, teas, and smoothies, and it's drive-through only. That site plan has also been approved. Chick-fil-A, the building, if you've not been by Chick-fil-A, where the old Fishers was, the building is down and excavating has begun. And that's all I have for you tonight. Aldi's is opening. Aldi's is opening soon, so they're just about ready to go. And we don't have a date on that exactly, but as soon as I know, I will be sharing that with all of you. Thank you. Reports of committees, our next work session will be Tuesday, May 30th, 2023 at 6:30 instead of Monday because of Memorial Day. Councilman Gray?
Just like I mentioned, I will not be at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, we don't have anything prior to that meeting, do we? Thank you. Resolutions and requests of council members. Call of calendar, ordinance number 22, 2023.
Ordinance number 22, 2023 is tabled April 17, 2023 until May 15, 2023. An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Massillon, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Allison Mary to provide an economic development inducement grant to fund startup costs including build-out, equipment, etc. for caffeine and gunpowder located at 155 Lincoln West, Suite 80-096, Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Hurricane.
Thank you, Madam President. I do intend on bringing this forward this evening. Are there any questions or final comments from any member of council on this matter?
Councilman Lewis.
I have a question for Mr. Major.
Mr. Mayor, can you sit down?
Mr. Bailey, can you just
application that I sent down to the mayor discussing what types of appropriation we submit with that application, and I submit that to council.
Does that application have any questions regarding legal history or indebtedness?
No, it does.
And has it at all in the past 10 years?
No.
And so then they determine the application because you run your algorithm based off of new business or existing business and where they fall into our tiers.
Yeah, I base it, it's really based on the revenue generation, jobs, investment, those types of things, parameters that I give you.
And Kathleen Gunpowder, if you refresh my memory, what grouping was it that they called in? It was like 8,000 to 10,000 or something?
That's correct.
And you recommended the council be 8,000.
That's correct.
Okay. In that, how long have you been involved with doing economic development grants?
Since I've been there about 7, 8 years.
7 or 8 years.
That was, basically, we have changed the grants somewhat, they're basically the standard when I took over.
And when you took over, was that process of the tiers and everything in place, or is that something that was developed
That's
later?
what those brought forward since then, in tiers.
Okay. And then have you ever, again, looked into the indebtedness of a company or the legal history of any of its owners?
No, we never had to do that.
And do you by chance know that there's 2 owners of Kathleen Gunpowder? We talk about one. Do you know what that relationship is? If there's a percentage or how that partnership was arranged?
Yeah.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks.
Councilman Gillen?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Maley, just briefly, in your history in processing these, have you ever said no, and if so, for what reasons have you rejected it?
You mean as far as the administration or myself?
Yeah, administration.
No, we've always brought stuff forward, automatically to council.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Hurricane?
Thank you, Madam President. I have a question for the law director. If you come up.
Good evening, Council President.
Mr. Richard, if the funds are awarded for this grant, with the lawsuit pending, could those funds be attached based on the arrangement of the business?
And let me just understand the question. What lawsuit pending? Which one?
The most recent one for not paying the rent.
Sure.
Well, I guess that is the most recent one. Could those, and even the one with the wages, can any of these lawsuits, could they attach any monies coming into the business, let's say through this grant?
Yes, to all potential debtors.
So we can't really guarantee if this passes that it's going to go to the state purpose.
Not with that pending judgment and additional suits that we don't know the outcome. I certainly don't know the merit of those, but I can tell you that there is a federal judgment that Mr. Lewis spoke of, and certainly they could, for that 100 and some odd people, they could attach.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Lewis?
Just a follow-up question. Are we able to ever guarantee that the funds that of an economic development grant are used for the purposes of the businesses asked?
I'm not sure that's a legal question, but no.
Anyone else? Councilman Hurricane?
Thank you, Madam President. To answer Mr. Lewis's question, I believe when the recipient applies for funding or shows their reimbursement expenses paid from the grant, then Mr. Mayor looks at that and awards them based on that they did what was stated in the agreement. To my knowledge.
May I respond just all of that? I think the numbers, and excuse me, I'm not perfect, but I think it's something over the past 4 or 5 years, 43 grants, I believe we've had 4 or 5 in the fall, something very, if that's not exact, it's pretty close. And we have successfully, meeting the law department, have gone after those that defaulted. So the scenario that you gave, certainly if they didn't pull it fair in the bargain, we would be suing them or going after the money.
Thank you. Hurricane.
Thank you, Madam President. The only final comment I would like to make on this before I bring it forward is regarding the matter of security. These individuals chose to go into the business of running a gun store, and they do not have the wherewithal to secure that investment, which I consider a risky nature. I don't believe it's the business of the government to secure that for them. That is my opinion on that. With that,
I just want to make a closing comment. I think there have been excellent arguments made on both sides of this whole debate. And the one thing that keeps plaguing me is that, as Mr. Richard alluded to, there's been 43 or so grants that we have given in the past few years. And whether it be at fault of the city or not, we have not held any other grant recipient to this level of scrutiny. And we have had previous recipients that are felons and have been incarcerated and still receive grants. So to suddenly come to a point where we are saying previous recipients are able to have criminal records and be incarcerated, this particular grant recipient is not. Plus, we do not know the exact relationship. I have not heard an exact relationship of the defendant in these lawsuits as to if they are 50% owner, if they're a 10% partner, or exactly what that breakdown is. So that is something I find intriguing. And I also am not a huge fan of changing the rules mid-step. If the other 43 applicants have not gone under this scrutiny, they have just been given an application, answered the questions that were provided or asked of them, and they brought to council, then they have followed all the steps and they were not warned or told that other things of this nature were going to be in place. It seems odd to me that we've changed the rules in the last minute on them. We have not done so with others. I can also say I'm only aware of one that I can believe offhand that this council's ever refused economic development grant, and that was, I believe, earlier this year, and that was because it was essentially a sole proprietor with no employees. And so our purpose of that was the lack of growth because it was not an actual business.
Anyone else? Councilman Snead?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to reiterate that I will be submitting the 4 surrounding gun stores that have been broken into, and while I tend to agree with Mr. Hurricane that it is not the government's responsibility to secure these stores, it is a privilege and our constitutional obligation to do so. That's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Viola?
Yes, once again briefly, and I don't know if anyone can answer this, but do we know the ownership situation with caffeine and gunpowder? Additionally, what sort of entity is it from a business perspective? Is it an LLC? Is it a partnership? Is it 50-50?
It is an LLC board.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Hurricane?
for the last time, thank you, Madam President. I do agree with Mr. Lewis, and I would, at one of the next meetings, I would like to call a committee meeting with the Economic Development Committee to discuss this program moving forward. I don't think we need to entertain any more of these until we really wrap our hands around some parameters for this program, which there really have never been. That is a matter for another day. Today I bring ordinance number 22-2023 forward for a vote.
Seconded by Councilman Harold Smith. Roll call.
Lewis?
Excuse me. Roll call for suspension?
No.
Roll
No,
call.
it's at third reading.
Roll call.
Lewis?
Yes.
Lombardi?
Yes.
Snead?
Yes.
Viola?
Yes.
Kramer?
No.
Gray?
Yes.
Harvard Smith?
Yes.
And Hurricane.
No.
That would be 6 yes to no. Ordinance number 22-2023 has passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 22-2023 22, 2023 has passed. There are no third reading ordinances. There are no second reading ordinances. Here at number 17, where the public can speak on any topic that did not appear on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please come forward, state your name and topic that you wish to discuss.
Hello, I'm sorry, Brooke Longhire. The buildings out ordinances for one. You know, it's great, y'all just gave a business $8,000 while I went through a road closure with no money. While I went through COVID, couldn't get any money because the road closure caused so much business loss that we couldn't get any money through COVID. Went through a 7-week shutdown to demolition. You think the city gave me a dime for that? No. It's our constitutional, apparently, right to, make sure a gun store is safe. Meanwhile, the same council isn't posting my business on Facebook to support it.
Brooke, you can't discuss gunpowder because it was on the agenda. If there's something else.
Okay, let me move on then.
Thank you.
We sit here and listen to you guys every week, pass ordinances, talk about ordinances. From my observance, that's apparently what council does. So let me bring you back to the ordinance passed on March 20th of 1989. That states whenever a building or other structure or part thereof of one side of a party wall is removed, existing party walls shall be maintained in a safe, weatherproof condition by and at the expense of the person, firm, or corporation causing the building or other structure to be removed. Temporary permanent bracing shall be provided as necessary for maintaining the stability of such party wall or adjoining building whenever such stability is endangered by the removal of a building or other structure or part thereof. Open beam holes in party walls exposed by removal of a building or other structure or part thereof shall be closed with approved masonry, once again, by and at the expense of the person, firm, or corporation causing them to be exposed. So why do we sit here and talk about making new building ordinances when we don't care about the ones that we have? I was basically told, go use that in court. Okay, so why do we have it? The way I'm looking at it right now, the city tore down the buildings next to me. So the city and the owners of the buildings could fight back and forth on who's responsible for it. And while we're helping other businesses, we're meanwhile taking my 126-year-old business and saying a big F you. We don't care that you've been here for 126 years. We're not going to help you get fixed back up, even though we tore you down. And if you don't, this steel that's $4,000 a month, if you have it removed, then we will vacate you. Meanwhile, the building 3 buildings down from me, that is the other corner of the building that had the 2 metal takedown, is advertising a new business that's opening Wednesday. And I've mentioned to the city several times about it, and they keep telling me, oh, she can't open. Yes, she keeps putting stuff in and now has a sign saying she's opening on Wednesday. No steel, that's $4,000 a month. So now the owner that clearly has his little hands in the pocket of the city, because he gets away with everything, gets to now make money off of his building as I am losing money being open, because I don't profit $4,000 a month. So just being open is costing me money, meanwhile he gets to make money off of his. So y'all keep talking about your ordinances and giving your grants while you're screwing the businesses that have been here for over a century.
Thank you, Brooke.
Gail Dancy, Massillon, Ohio. This is just a reminder. Some time ago I came to you and asked you, let me say this first, I come every Monday, you know that. Come to all your committee meetings, I come to all your council meetings. And so I'm still waiting to hear you come up with some discussion about what you're going to do moving forward so that we're not tearing down buildings that are privately owned. I haven't heard any discussion about that, so I just wanted to remind you that I asked if you would consider doing some legislation so that we don't continue to run into the same problem again. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Anyone else? Seeing none. Councilman Gilden.
Motion to adjourn.
Second by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call.
Sneed,
Yes.
Viola,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Armstead,
Yes.
Turner Kane,